Josh in San Antonio, you're live with Eric and Jamie. How's it going?
Hey, how you guys doing today?
We're doing well.
Marvelously.
What do you want to talk about today?
Well, I probably should have waited till next month when you guys have the new channel going. I'm curious about relationships. How do you approach having a relationship with somebody when you're an atheist and everybody else is a theist, and that's going to be like a deal breaker for a lot of people. And something I've had come up in my life over the last couple of years is meeting people. It's a deal breaker. I mean, not for me, for them. It's a deal breaker for them. And you can't not talk about it.
The struggle is real. Generally, when I approach a relationship, I do my best to do so seductively. But, did you want to take a bigger swing at this?
Well, I guess a little bit of personal sharing. I was actually engaged to and with someone for a very long time who's Catholic. And it was tough, man. It was tough. And as being an atheist became more and more important to me, it really became harder and harder not to talk about it and not to, and it's not like she wasn't practicing, going to mass every weekend kind of person, but it was tough. I guess I'd want to ask a few more questions. Like, what else?
Well, my problem is,
is she active? Is she kind of lapsed? Like,
my previous relationship, the girl was a little bit active. She was a Jehovah's Witness that I didn't find out myself until a little bit into the relationship. Like, oh, you go to the watchtowers and stuff. Oh, okay. So for me, it was definitely, I shouldn't share this side of me, even though she kind of knew. But I also knew I will not be meeting your family. I will not be meeting your friends because I'm this bad, evil person. And I'm horrible. You shouldn't even be associating with me. And so it's definitely something that you have to hide yourself and you can't talk about it openly. And especially when it is a part of your life so much and it is important to you.
It's really tough. I can't say that I have a lot of personal experience with this. I mean, for a while, I was dating someone after I deconverted and atheism was becoming important to me. But they weren't particularly active, and at that point, it wasn't as large a part of my life as as atheist activism is now. So I know that this problem exists, and I'm sure that I'm going to run into it in future, but sorry?
Is it something you think you should hide from the other person? You should openly keep it like a secret to yourself and just try to dismiss all their stuff?
I don't think that having an aspect of you relating to another person, just, hiding a part of who you are, is a very good idea for relationships. Building relationships on trust and understanding and openness tends to be a better way for those to go. But what I will say is that depending on how important your involvement in an atheist community or the atheist movement is in your life, and depending on how important religion and religious involvement is in their life, it doesn't necessarily have to form the keystone of your relationship, right? Like if their idea of a relationship is, oh, this is the person that takes me to church, that they're willing to drive me to church on Sunday, that's something that's between you and them, right? Like there's lots of people that date people that believe that don't believe. But what I will say is the problem that is heard universally, like if you've seen any of the old AXP episodes where they bring this up, the call that they get most frequently that's a disagreement that's very difficult, nigh impossible to resolve is, okay, well, if this relationship, if you have children, how are you going to raise those children? And that's one that is very difficult, again, nigh impossible to compromise on, because you're completely responsible for the upbringing of this child. And if you have insurmountable differences about how that's going to be done, then that doesn't work. So what I would say is you can get to know someone without going to their church or whatever. The person that I dated who was religious at the time played the piano at Mass every Sunday, but in no way wanted to convert me was more of, we didn't get into it very much, right? And at the time, I wasn't very much of an atheist activist, or really, let's see, actually that relationship may have ended before I really deconverted, but I was never very religious. So from personal experience, I can't help you, but I can tell you what advice has helped other people. I know that Eric has had multiple relationships like that. So.
Yeah, and what I found is communication was the most important thing in my experience, because it's one thing if you don't want to come out to your friends and family, or your coworkers or anything like that, but to not be able to be comfortable with who you are at home is not something that I would be comfortable with. And so for my personal, what I've experienced in talking to people who are married to religious people and have relationships with the religious people is that the successful ones are the ones where both sides know what's going on and have an informed dialogue that they are able to keep between each other that's honest. And that moves forward into how to raise kids, is that communication is better than non-communication with a partner like that. Now, there can be situations where that is not the way to go. And, people have individual, circumstances. But in my experience, lying directly to your spouse does not make for a long-lasting and positive marriage. And definitely. So I take it with a grain of salt. That's what I've found. I don't want to ruin somebody's life by having them come out to their spouse and then they lose everything. And then they're like, Eric, you've ruined things. You know your life better than I do. But if you want my advice, communicate. Talk to each other.
Well, I think of a lot of it is just when you start out the brand new relationship, you shouldn't bring this up because they're a theist or whatever they are, and you can't talk about it. But when you do talk about it, that's when things are going to change. And you don't want to make the things change, but whenever you say, hey, guess what? And that's when things are going to...
Actually, after I moved to Texas, I led with that in dates. Like, that was one of the first things that I said was, I want to live my most honest life. I want to live my best life. And that means I'm an atheist. And if that's an issue, I don't want to waste your time or mine. And
I found that as I get older, I say that to a lot of people. I don't want to waste time. I'm an atheist.
Yeah. And I actually met a pretty nice atheist girl. So that's pretty cool. So I'm happy.
Yeah, they exist.
Right? I know.
Yeah.
I know. All right. But yeah, that's all I got, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
hopefully that was helpful.
All right. Well, yeah.
And also, if you chat in the Discord and the Reddit and all of our various social media, there should be links in the description below. I'm sure there are lots of other members of the Talk Heathen community that have a thing or two to say. But
I'm sure it'll be a topic that's covered next month when the new show starts. So
that is almost certainly true. Yeah.
Do you know how? All right. You take care, buddy.
All right. You guys have a good day.
All right, you too.